Uncle Sam's. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. And tonight we are going to be chatting with Mr. Andre Paradis. So if you want to learn more about relationships, then stay tuned. Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I am here with none other than Mr. Andre Paradis. How are you today?
I'm very good, very well. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to have you here on the GSL Talk Show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to hearing and learning more about you and your endeavors. So please feel free to tell us where you are and a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Andre Paradis. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm originally French Canadian, so I come from East Coast of Canada. And I'm a relationship coach. I'm an NLP coach, neuro-linguistic programming. For those of you who don't know, it's the trauma release work that's fantastically efficient and quick. I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies. When it comes to relationship, all relationships, personal, business, friendships, we always trip over communication. We always trip over communication. And people make the mistake to think communication is the words that you're using. Some, but it's really more about the results that you're getting. If you're not getting the results, you're not communicating. And one big thing in my world is men and women. It sounds ridiculous because I'm looking at you and, you're a smart girl. I'm a smart guy. I speak English. You understand the words I'm saying. We're not communicating. Men and women speak and listen completely differently, and we don't realize this. So we're not communicating, especially in the realm of love, because there's more energies, there's more tension, there's more expectations, right? In the realm of love, relationships, dynamics, there's a lot more juice in the dynamic. but we do the same thing at work. Men and women do not speak the same. Men and women do not listen the same, and we constantly check each other up, not knowing. And it sounds insane, but it's factual. It's my world. So that's a huge part of my work is men and women dynamic, relationship dynamics. Clear up your baggage, because you can't get in a good relationship with your baggage. That's the work that I do, along with teaching how to build a healthy, living, long-term relationships. We don't have any role models for this nowadays. Role models is you go girl, you go boy, be you, right? Self-love, self-care, self, find yourself, right? It's good to a point, but people don't actually realize you have to do your work. Like I see, you have to clean up your life. I get it. This is the part of what I do as well. Except there's a point where you cannot find yourself on your own. You need people in relationships to mirror who you are. What's it like to be with you? Where you suck at, the dynamic, where you don't communicate. Like, we need the relationships to actually mirror to us what it's like to be with us and everything that's wrong with us, because everybody's got screwed loose, right? So the idea of self and I need to find myself first. Well, you have to do your work first, but you will find yourself in the relationships, especially your love dynamics. So interesting. So we sort of so what I'm bringing to you is a way to really look at things in my world, how they work best. So that.
Woo. Okay. All right. Okay.
You got me
so
going.
He came in guns blazing. They say. He knows what he got going on.
You got me going.
Sweet.
I said you got me going. I'm just saying. This is a push a button.
Hey, well, I mean, I'm welcome. It's all welcome here because I mean, I actually agree with you. We definitely have some type of disconnect happening in the world, especially when it comes to relationships. Again, the dynamics between men and women. I would say even marriage and everything is being tested, tried, and I believe there's forces that be that are like really wanting to see those relationships and whatnot. And so I find it interesting, that you say you're into and whatnot. And I think my first question is, how did you get into the relationship coaching aspect and whatnot? Like, what was your inspiration to get into this?
Well, so it's a I'm trying to make it a short story, but I was a kid. I had a terrible childhood, and at the age of 5, I realized I was this is exactly how I felt it. I was 5 years old when I put my thoughts to my feelings. When I put them together at 5, I realized I was really concluded I was born in the wrong family. These were not my people. They hated me. I was a black sheep. I didn't fit in here. I was like it was quite terrifying actually at 5 when you put this thing together. 5 siblings. I'm number 4 kid. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Something is
Mm.
a big mistake. I don't know how that. So I started watching the world. It became like just all I did is watch. Like I became a watcher of people life, just trying to understand my life. How is that possible? By the way, how are you born in the wrong family? Like, but I tasted it. It was like, everything was palatable. Like I don't belong here. What
Mm.
do you do with that at 5? So anyway, I started watching the world, and I was the geek, the isolation, the guy who was alone a lot. I always had a friend, so I wasn't completely um, on my own, but I always had one good friend, but I watched the world pretty much all the time. I was on the outside of everything, but I watch and 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 I watch. That's been my whole life. And that I became very curious with obviously the human condition, again, trying to understand mine, but to watch people develop differently, to watch the stars, the geeks, the dweebs, the brainy ones, and like how do you get to be like you? Like how does that work? And what works, what doesn't work, and just my fascinated with the human condition. That was my whole life. So
Mm.
I made a life, in showbiz. I made my way to Los Angeles and worked with some really big celebrities. I danced. I was dancing commercially. So I danced with Michael Jackson. I danced with Prince. I danced with Paul Abdul. I danced with. I mean, I made a living at this for 15 years. So I conquered the world of my dream, always watching people. Right? I eventually got married after doing this for about 15 years. I wanted to raise a family and have a wife, and I did that. So we settled in Los Angeles. I opened a car business. I'm a car guy. It's something I always loved. In Los Angeles, this place, if you love cars, you got to be in LA, right? So, um, but made that a second life for me. And but again, still curious about people, taking workshops all the time. I've been taking personal development workshops since I was 23 years old. Curious about life, curious about people, curious about how things work, curious about how do you make more money, and it's all like that's been my adventure and discovery. I want to know everything. I want to know everything. I'm curious by nature. So that was always my pace. In 2006, I'd come back from a workshop in Northern California, a business workshop. I meet this couple on the plane who I met in the event that were on the same flight coming back to LA. The lady says to me, "What do you do next weekend?" I go, "I'm off." She's like, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I'm like, "Ah, of course." Like I'm a workshop head, right? You have to, and those things can be very expensive. And then I go, wait, what's the workshop? I agreed before I even knew what it was. And she's like, oh, it's called Understanding Women.
Hmm.
In my face, I'm like, okay. All right, now you have to understand because of my artistic ways, and I've always attracted sweet women. You meet my wife, and you understand this is my whole life. I attracted sweet, loving, kind, easygoing, happy women. That's my life. So when I then agreed to go to a workshop called Understanding Women. I'm like, I just ruined my weekend. Like, like what are you gonna teach me, right? Because for me it was working, and I thought it was me. I thought I knew something. Honestly, without arrogance, I just thought I had some. I had something. Anyway, so I went because I promised to go, and that workshop blew my mind. I mean, at the end of it, my brain was all over the walls. I was baffled, flabbergasted, upset. My wife says I came home, I was white like a sheet because it actually scared me because you have to understand that again from my background, but at the time we were married a while, and I wasn't looking for this information. I had a 3-year old and a baby. My
Mm.
all my siblings are divorced twice, 3 times. right? I have my baby girl, I have my angel, I have my wife, and all of a sudden realize I know nothing about her. I know nothing about her, and that freaked me
Mm,
out. That totally freaked me out
mm,
because if I don't understand how she functions, how she operates, the things she takes personally, why, how, what she's looking for, how she's listening, when I'm not listening to, I realized that the scope of this, and that just freaked me out. I'm like, I'm not going to be a statistic again. This is my brain, right? And want to know everything.
mm.
I wasn't going to be a statistic because I didn't know. So that's how it started. I jumped into the company. I took all their workshops, all the curriculum. Within a minute, I'm a workshop leader for them because I'm a teacher, right? Dancing, teaching, choreographing. This is part of the work. I'm always in front of people. So that was my entire life. So I become a workshop leader. That's how it started. And then didn't work. I didn't end up staying with that company, but I ended up continuing my training. And Dr. John Gray, Esther Perel. So I have 5 masters that I trained with who gave me the cocktail of information that I have. Like I stand on the shoulders of masters, 5 incredible masters in the realm of anthropology, science, the psychology, uh, chemistry of our bodies, men, women, and then psychology, like how we come together and how so. And so within about 2 years of this, there became something that I wanted to do on my own, and then so I launched my company and started doing this then. But it was a progression of my life to work. So yeah,
Wow. Well, look at that. I mean, it's so very interesting that you brought that up because over the past couple of days, I would say I've been taking in a lot of content about like leaving your hometown or leaving, certain people having to get away from their family to really
mm,
step into their purposes and whatnot. I know in the Bible they reference like, a prophet isn't really within their hometown, right? And
right,
so it's like that same concept. It's up like in just everyday life and because for whatever reason, like your family or your friends or people that you grew up with may not, understand, the growth that's happening in your life or the change that's happening in your life and all those different things. So it's crazy that you said that, even that first part, because I'm like, is this why I've been seeing all that over the past few days?
maybe.
Um, because on one hand, I'm like, a lot of us can probably be feeling like the awkward one, or feeling like you said the black sheep, or like I don't feel like I belong here in the midst of whatever it is, right?
Mm,
But it's on another level. I feel like when God is like using you to, get to that next thing because He has some work for you to do, and He knows that like the people around you or whatever the case is, they might be the ones like let's say naysayers or whatever to hold you back or pull you down
yep.
from that particular, for His overall plan. And so it sounds to
Amen.
me like when you're sharing what happened with you, you know what I mean?
Amen.
You're
You
like,
got it. You got it. Yep.
it sounds like exactly what you grew up in. It's like you grew up in a place where you're like, something don't feel right. Like, how did I, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you're obviously, He had this plan for you to get to this place where you are now to reveal more information to you so you can help other people. That's what it sounded like to me. But it's amazing how you got you there. So it's funny.
Yeah.
So you said you were years into marriage before you received this information. That you had no clue who your wife really was. So how did that affect your marriage at that point? Like, and how does that look now, if you don't mind sharing, in regards to that? Because I mean, obviously, I'm curious, did it make you more attentive, or did you make you more like on edge or like on guard with, how did you receive the
All of it.
information, and then how does it,
All of it.
mesh now with your relationship?
Well, because it what it did originally too, it gave me an understanding of her processing the way, like, men will complain to me all the time because this is the work that I do now full time. Full time. This is not a hobby. This is my life.
Mm,
Men will come at me with, "Why she take everything personally? I said something, she took it the wrong. Like I don't. You should have. She's crazy, man, and she'll make shit up, and like because we don't understand the processing that happens, not understanding a woman's processing because we're not the same. And part of the
mm,
problem that I see is that a culture is saying we're the same. We're the same. We're the same. We're not the same. We're Mars and Venus. We're actually more bigger than. We're two different galaxies. We're not the same one little bit, but we're complementary. We're made to fit. That's a different story, right? So we're same. Same as in no, men are not supposed to be sweet and sensitive. They're not going to talk to you for 3 hours on the phone. That's your girlfriend. But women expect men to act like girls, and if they don't, like it's the wrong guy. No, no, because those guys that act
mm,
like this, you don't like them. because they're soft and weak and floppy, and they don't make you feel safe ultimately. So
Mm,
no, and women who are acting like men also cause a lot of problems, because if you're bossy, if you're arrogant, not arrogant, if you're like bossy, dominant, argumentative, manly, no man with self-respect will stand for that for 1 second. So we're not the
mm,
same. And to make women act more like men is as harmful to relationship as men acting like women. It doesn't work. Now it's fine for business, it's fine for your friendship. It doesn't matter, right? Equality there works. In the love dynamic is a kiss of death. It's not how nature function. And if we go, this again, I'm said to you earlier where we started, like none of this is my opinion. I teach nature science, psychology. Like this is not my opinion. I'm not a moralist. All I'm saying is you go against nature. We all can. You go, girl, all you want, except there's a price to pay. And typically, with the belief in our culture, it makes relationships impossible.
mm.
You go against
Yeah.
nature, you're
Hmm.
done. You go against nature, you're not going anywhere. You're gonna fight and I'm just saying. Go ahead, your turn.
No, no, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I can definitely see. I think all around us are results of what's like. Cause then now we have, all these single people. I'm always seeing. I'm always seeing, especially men online. They're complaining about marriage. They feel like, oh, there's nothing good in for marriage and a man and X, Y, and Z and all these different where on the flip side, like when I think about my husband, he seems very pleased in marriage. He'll say all the time that it's being with me that has helped him, and I can say the same thing for me, right? Being with him has helped me, and but instead of that, right, instead of like you said, us being complimentary and whatnot, there's just this call or whatever for us to be combative as men and women,
Yep.
versus like truly coming together the way we are supposed to. And so, what would you say in regards to that? Like I mean, I'm sure. I know you probably can't go through a whole workshop or like going through what you actually do when you are coaching this. But like, I mean, what I'm just saying in general, like, what would you say to those individuals that are leaning into these narratives that are being pushed, and then finding themselves in a place that they really don't want to be, because they
Yep.
probably do want love and they probably do want marriage, they probably do want
Yep.
all the things that they are looking down on, because the overall message is to be the complete opposite.
Yeah, and these are my clients. People come to me when they've done the cultural crap. They've followed, badass, or they follow mom and said, "Don't ever be vulnerable to men, and make sure you save people back." All you build, you know, fear into everyone. Men don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
married because they lose half their lives, and on a whim sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
because she's not happy enough, and she could take the kids in the house, and like, and there's a time, I'm going to say this just to be a little political. There's a time where if a woman cheated on her husband, she got nothing. She
Mm-hmm.
crossed the line. She destroyed the relationship. She got nothing. Now she could
Mm-hmm.
just leave because she feels like it, and she still gets half of everything. Right? So these are the things that have gone unfair. This is why men look at marriage like it's a big liability, because it is. There was a time where
Mm-hmm.
if you acted right, there was a price of not anymore. So that's one. But my clients come to me, men and women, because they follow the script, they follow the culture. I call it the tidal wave of culture. This tidal wave of belief that is completely unnatural, that doesn't work. It's on paper sounds really good. The quality on paper sounds really good. Equal rights, equal pay, of course. And I'm not a pig. I totally get that. This is fine. But the idea of
Mm-hmm.
equal being with same, this is where it goes to hell, and it doesn't work. So my clients come to me. Finally, it cracks me up. Women come to me, go, because my work is all, I'm typically referred by other clients, and because they watch them change and they go, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And you're so blah, and and they start dating and understanding how to date, and they get they get to live the lives that they're shooting for if they want a relationship. And so their friends come at me after and go, what would you give, what did you do to Mary, right? And so what I did to Mary is Mary understood at one point that what she was taught by her culture, her school, her mother, whatever, is crap. The feminist movement for relationship is crap. It's a complete lie. You've been sold a lemon. Sorry, if you if you're a feminist, deal with it. And it's factual. I have data come out my nose. Everyone that comes to me is a recovering feminist who went too far. Right? So feminism went too gone too awry is what I call it. But they realized at one point everything they've done right created chaos and madness and frustration in their lives and no relationships. So they come to me with Whatever you did with Mary, I don't know what you did, but that's what I want. And what I do with Mary is I basically sort of, it's not about, and by the way, just people get me wrong all the time and put words in my mouth. And, I'm just say this up front is people always go, oh, you want us to go back to the 50s? Like we're supposed to dumb it down and wiggle our butts. I'm like, that's not what I'm freaking saying, right? I'm going to curse here. It's hard for me not to curse when I hear this. It's insulting. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, so, and even the work that I do is not about dismantling, like whatever you build as a woman, your life, your career, your business, your work, right? You go, girl, but fantastic. But if that's all that you cultivated and you forgot this side of you, which is your femininity, this is why it's not working. So women,
Mm.
all my clients are stuck here, badass, boss, blah, 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 and they can't. They're manly. They're manly. They're more masculine than feminine. Feminine is dormant. Now, there's a bunch of reasons for this. Often it's childhood trauma, right? No daddy,
Mm.
bad daddy, assaults, whatever, you name it. I get it. I get it. These are the things that we have to fix, by the way. It is the stuff that I do. I talked about NLP. You have to
Mm.
fix your baggage. We have to heal your soul. We have to patch up the trauma of the past. It's the only way to get into a healthy relationship in the future. So beautiful. So idea is not to undo everything that you are and dumb you down. That's not it. It's that in my world, a true badass woman is a woman who can do this and then you can do this, right? You can do this.
Mhm.
So appropriately,
Mm.
when you have to be masculine to be a worker, to produce result, and to compete and all that, so you have to be. But if you
Mhm.
get stuck there, this is where your love life goes to hell. So when is it appropriate to be masculine at work? When is it appropriate to be feminine in the rest of your life? I
Mhm.
say you can work all you want, and good for you, right? Beautiful, independent, and right. Except you have to leave your balls at work. When you step into the world, sorry, when you step into the world, you don't get to put your balls in everybody's face, especially men, and especially men you're trying to date, because that is the most disrespectful, irritating, and it's not because they're intimidated. It's irritating. It's rude. Keep your
Mm.
balls at work. In the world, men are looking for feminine women. Feminine women don't have balls. They don't carry
Mm.
balls. They don't throw them in people's faces, right? They're lovely. They're warm. They're inspiring. They're inviting. They're inspiration. They inspire us. They lift us up, right?
Mhm.
So that's where the thing goes awry. So my clients, I basically learn to be able to do both. They get to flex and typically really
Mhm.
step back into their feminine. It's really what it is. They don't know how to be feminine. They've never been taught that. They forgot it's in there, but they've not practiced it for so long. Or so I say sometimes, and my because they'll come in with, "What's wrong with me? I have money. I'm pretty. I'm still young. Nobody's dating me. Nobody wants to see. If I get a date, I don't get a second date. They ghost me." And I go, "There's nothing wrong with you. You're too manly.
Mm.
You got a bigger penis. That doesn't work for men. Men don't want penises. Hunters don't want hunters. Hunters don't date hunters, right? So
Mm.
well, and so you just got to get back into your feminine essence. You're a woman. It's your source. The core source of you is feminine, but you've been practicing being masculine for 20, 30 years. This is your problem. There's nothing wrong with you. You just, you've been practicing too much to one lane, right? So I go, yeah, and I say this, you have to step back into your feminine. You go like this. You go like this. They have no idea what it is. That's bad, right? This is when it's gone to hell. Like if I say you have to be more feminine, you have no idea what I'm talking about. These are my clients. So we literally rehabilitate them into their bodies, into their femininity, and then they could dance back and forth. And guess what? They have amazing lives, financially, and they actually can build relationships and know how to be in the dancing relationship, which I call. Look at my work. Look behind me. This is my wife and I ballroom dancing.
Oh, wow. It's
This is the
beautiful.
world. This is the world that I come from. This is why I'm teaching about that. The metaphors in dancing and relationships are amazing because there's no equality in a dance couple, right? This complementary. What she's doing is
Mm.
not the same as I'm doing. It's actually much harder at some level. She's doing it backwards in a dress and high heels. You know what I mean? Like she's not. But and the mistake that people make is to think that the supporter of the relationship or the dynamic is weaker or weak. You think she's
Mhm.
passive? Do you think my wife is passive when she's dancing with me? Not 1 second. Women are not passive in relationships. They're very active. We just have two different pieces. Complementary,
Mm.
complementary, right? But so
Mhm.
but if my wife tried to ballroom dance, she decides she's going to lead. She's going to be the man. Houston, we're going to have a problem because I'm going to leave her on the dance floor by herself. That's what happens. That's what happens to women. You want to be the man? Well, then you be the man by yourself. Because men don't dance that shit. Sorry.
That, I mean, that is so true, and definitely something to think about and consider. Actually, and you were making me think about, you know, because you say sometimes you feel like you're misunderstood when you're telling the people this, right? Because people look at it in a negative light, or they think about the 40s or the 50s, whatever case is. I feel like, again, that if I'm referencing Bible real quick, like people look at it, right, and they're like, oh, they also feel like that the book is, all of it brings women down X, Y, and Z, even though if you actually read it, there's plenty of strong women in the Bible. And off that, as you was talking, it made me thought about think about the Proverbs 31 woman, because at the end of the day, you see that she has all these things going. She's an entrepreneur. She's buying land. She's doing all these things. So what about her makes her weak? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing in that passage that says she's X, Y, and Z. It says her children, call her blessed. It says her husband is happy about her. Like all these different things. And it's like, but for whatever reason, the narratives are out there telling us the complete opposite. And people don't ever, I guess, do the work, or actually, which is probably like reading the Bible in my case, when I'm talking about, or actually doing the work within to, find balance between, being the boss lady, but also being a lady,
Thank you.
So it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, we do have a whole generation now that are, living this or pursuing this. Ultimately, when they do want what the 1940s and 50s woman had,
Absolutely.
they because a lot of people are talking about like, not saying necessarily, I guess, being housewives, but they also are looking for, I guess, being trophy wives or whatever. So it's a whole thing these days, from what I observe. And I mean, hey, I know I enjoy marriage. I'm glad that I married my husband. I believe that, again, he's been a great supporter of me. That's the reason I'm even sitting here now and able to sit here and talk to you, because he's a supporter of me and the things I got going on, and vice versa for him. It's like we're pushing each other and we're there for each other, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the only one that has it, because obviously you have it too, but it's just very interesting observing people that don't have it, and then they want it, but they don't want to do the work.
Well, they don't know how it works anymore. They've literally been brainwashed into this. The new reality is the better reality. The new way is the best way. The old way is stupid and outdated and misogynistic. It's not true at all. It's not true at all. No, right? Now, what I'm teaching is there's a modern way to do the more classic ways. It's very traditional. It's interesting because it's funny, right? When the feminist movement kicked in the '60s, right? Women, basically, the idea was to give women choices. You want to be a housewife, be a housewife. You want to go out in the workforce, let's open those channels. Beautiful, yeah, great, fine, right? So women wanted options. Women wanted different options. Well, guess what? Men still don't have any freaking options. Men's world haven't changed at all. What's in it to be a man today? You have to get your shit together. You have to produce something. You have to build something. You have to discipline yourself. Make something of yourself so you can have self-respect and the respect of people in the world, both men and women. Men have to get their lives together, push hard through their fear, conquer, compete, fight, push through everything, their fear, their own sense of whatever, to build something, to build themselves up. And all of a sudden, these are the guys who actually are valuable in the world by everyone, and themselves first. And these are the guys who want to marry, have kids. So should the choices for men are exactly the same. None. Zero choice. You go out there and make something of yourself, or you're a freaking loser. No one can respect the guy who's living in the basement of his mom's house at 30. No one. That's not sexy. I don't care how cute he is. Loser, right? So men value men who build their lives, have character, and these guys are the ones who create families and kingdoms, their own kingdoms, to put their arms around everybody to love, right? So men's role has not changed at all. But men don't complain about it. But so what's happening? Let me just finish because it's important, because you can bring the question.
Okay.
Since the '60s, we talked women out of their roles, right? Like where men don't have that option, and now you have all the choice, all the options. You do anything you want, except when you want relationships and marriage. You men The men who want marriage and children and families are traditional. Now we teach you
Mm,
women don't want to be traditional. If you don't want to be traditional, then you wonder why men don't want to marry you. Is because again, traditional males who do everything right, everything you want women to be traditional. And if you refuse to be traditional, and you should take me the way that I am, right? And I'm better than a housewife and a okay, okay, congratulations, you're up on your own. I'm just saying, and the rest of the men, by the way, there's not in my world. There's three types of men. There's men, there's guys, and there's boys. When you're stuck in your masculine as a woman, you attract boys. Boys are the cheaters. Boys are the the scammers. Boys don't want to work. Boys are feminists. Boys go girl, get that second raise. I'm so proud of you. Get another diploma, get another degree, because they want you to keep them comfortable. They want you to work. So women say to me, men are terrible. I'm like, no, no. The men you pick because you're masculine, the men you attract because you're masculine, are the bad ones. Those are the toxic, dangerous ones that we all hate,
mm,
right? They give us a bad name. So it's not man, right? Like you have to know which man you're dealing with because there's, like I said, there's three types. Very, very
mm,
different characters. They look the same. They look exactly the same. If you don't know how to spot them, right? You give yourself a new masculine woman, go girl, you're gonna attract the sweet boys who will manipulate, lie, cheat, freaking just. And if you make the mistake of marrying one of those, because you like you have a company and you got your stuff going, and he stays home. God help you. I'll tell you. I can tell you stories that make your hair curlier than mine. Like it's stupid what happens there. Again, fly in the face of nature, go backwards. There's a price to pay. It's a horrible price to pay. I think it's an insane price to pay. This is why I'm here, like calling this out as much. I do a lot of podcasting for that reason. This needs to stop. They
mm,
sold you all of us at lemon. It's not working. It's destroying everything. It's destroying a relationship, which is destroying family system, which is destroying society. Ask.
mm.
Oof. Okay, I just did it again. So sorry.
That's the truth. Actually, it's funny because you touched on what I was about to ask, because I have seen, like you said, the different reports about, the man, two wives, and he stayed home and all that. And I'm like, so it seems like men do have some choices out here, even though those aren't the type of choices.
Those are not men. Those are boys. That's
You
not a
already,
man.
already.
Men do none of that. So
Right, yeah. I was going, okay. Oh, you right, you right. Well, I don't want to be low on your time, sir, because I know you got plenty of do. Um, and unfortunately, it seems like you're gonna be busy with this type of work for a long time, because we have issues, but we have issues between men and women. So I pray Godspeed for you, that you continue to encourage and inspire the people that you're working with. How can they get in touch with you? Anybody that may be interested in working with
yeah. So I have actually I have a gift for you listeners.
you? Mm.
Is that cool? So in my world, in my experience, I do a lot of podcasting because I tell you why I do those podcasts. By the way, it's my God mission. I would talk to you about that, but I'm not doing this as a business as much as there's a mission. I have a God calling to do this work.
Mm.
But people who are listening to a podcast, typically there's two types of people: the people who are just looking for information, right? How does that work? Why does that work? Relationships, how does that work, right? So it's like looking for information. So if you're looking for information, you email me directly at Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail. That's my direct email. Andre Coaching one, the number one at Gmail. And in the title, put Irresistible Book. I have a book that I wrote. It's called the Five Things High Quality Men Find Absolutely Irresistible in Women. I sell it on
Mm.
my website. I'll give it to free to anybody who's curious. Again, just Irresistible Book. Right, just email me and I'll send you a copy, a PDF copy. Like I said, that's gift number
Mm.
one. If you're looking for information, if you want to, some people just want to handle it. They want some action. They want to take action. They want to do something, right? Like, all right, give me more. If I resonate with the listeners, often they want more. The bell rings somewhere in there. Like ding, like oh, he knows something. He knows something. Anyway, so if you're an action person, email me at andrecoaching1 at gmail, and in the title, go talk now. Just write talk now. And what I'll do, I'll send you a link to my calendar where you could have a VIP call one-on-one with me about what's up with you. Like, what is the struggle? Where are you seeing yourself stuck? right? And again, this is our life. Right? We get stuck in a loop. Same result, same type relationship, same failures, same type person, same type man over and over, attracting boys, attracting boys. You think that's men? That's not true. It's your loop. It's your loop. You're stuck in the loop of your past, by the way, typically. So, and the same with men. Men who attract the same kind of, not committable women or whatever it is, right? It's not the world doing it to you. It's you and your perception of the world. So, in that
Mm.
call, we actually go right back to childhood. I'm really good at this. Like 15 minutes, we find out where you became connected to that belief system that is all running your entire life, because your subconscious now takes it as a truth. And all of a sudden, instead of what's wrong with me, you realize, wow, my family, it's my past, it's what happened when I was 6, 7, 8, 9. It's all of us are the same, right? No one gets out of childhood unscathed. Between the age of 5 and 11, those formative years, we make decisions about the world, about ourselves, about life, about people. And if you feel like you're unlovable, how can you get in a relationship? If you believe men are dangerous, scary, and not to be trusted, how can you get in a relationship? If you think women are crazy, in a different way dangerous, how are you going to get? So that has to be cleaned up. Anyway, in that call, we literally find the source of that. And also, like, what's wrong with me? Kind of, huh? So there's nothing wrong with me. I've just been through the ringer. Yeah. Wow. So again,
Mm.
and then what's the dream from there? If you understand that there's nothing wrong with you, your circumstance of your past, then what's the dream? What is it that you want? And we talk about what I do. I have different ways to work with me. So, but that call alone for some people to just change their lives, just understanding, you know,
Mm.
why they're stuck the way they are. Or
Mhm.
so it's fascinating. So that's what I'm offering. Andre Coaching One. Talk now. We'll have now this is for the people who are brave. It's a little bit nerve wracking apparently to get on the phone with me. It's like this is who I am. It's not nerve wracking. It's actually fun and very, very liberating is the word that they use. So, step it up. And these people who show up, we get the results. You can talk about it, you can show up. So that's my offer and my
Yes.
gift to your listeners. How's that?
Hey, that sounds great, man. Listen, I know this probably well, if you're watching this, friends, it's out now, but I mean, it's gonna be coming out in the future. But I don't know, I might need to hit some people up and say, hey, go check out this so when we get off this call now. Is there
Fair enough.
anything that you would like to share with us? I would call you Brother Andre. Anything you want to share with us, Brother Andre, before you leave?
Well, like I said, I'll share my mission with you. I do a lot of podcasting, and the reason why I do a lot of podcasting is because it allows my voice to go to places that I can't go to. Like so, like your listeners, the next podcast listeners, I have like three more listed for this week, and it taps into my God calling. So this happened years ago. This came down with everything, my life unfolding to this moment, and my God mission to help men and women recalibrate and to be able to readjust, recalibrate, go back to what's more natural with a modern twist, how to build loving relationships, which means loving families, which means healthy children who can actually grow to build their own loving families and continue and really just rebuild the culture, because without family, culture goes to hell. And this is what you're seeing out there right now. So the God calling, it is funny. So God is right there for me, like on my right up in the sky. I don't know why. And the calling, which I used to resent because it's so big, is my job to teach this to the masses.
Mm.
So I spread it out and I spread it out and make the offer and come in, listen to me, come and follow me. If you go to my website, projectequinox.net, there's a lot of stuff on there. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm all over the place. If you podcast my name, you do Andre Parody, podcast on Andre Parody, there's an avalanche of stuff to listen to. I'm just spreading so thank you for helping me spread the word. And ultimately, what I'm looking for is a big, the mission in my head is, it needs to be Oprah big. It sounds ridiculous, but like Oprah big, right? Like nation movement, whether it's a TV show or radio show. It's easy to teach. It's not out there. Nobody talks about it the way right? Because the culture is actually flipped on the other side, thinking it's better. So thank you for helping me spread the word, and that's what I'm up to. That's what I'm up to. It's much, much, much bigger than me. So
I mean, I could totally see that. Honestly, like I said, Godspeed to you in regards to your mission. I think is honorable work, is great work. It's definitely needed. And I'll be praying that you continue to get the message out there and help, one person at a time. And we know that, don't look down on that as well. I mean, because each person it'll lead to the next and the next and the next, and it just grows from there. So I'm glad that we had this time to talk. You're definitely welcome back anytime, and I greatly appreciate you stopping by tonight.
Me too. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Mr. Andre for joining us tonight. I hope that you all enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Mr. Paradis for all of his endeavors. And hey, if you need that book or if you need that coaching, then check him out. Go ahead and email him right now. All right. Y'all have a good night.